The local team won. One of the hosts won with very little. Mauricio Pochettino's team won. It looked like it was going to be a rout, but it ended up being a very bland, very quiet, how can I say it, watered down win for the North American team. Everything about this 2-0 victory for the United States in the voice of Mika Varda.
Dear. Well, yes, the United States won. They won because of the first half, which I think they worked as a team, and obviously because of the last names that were in the starting lineup. It seemed like it was going to be a United States team that would take the initiative, that would dominate, that would play with a high line, with the style of play as well. Regarding the setup Australia had gone with, we knew it was going to be a defensive block, that they were going to try to go for that second ball, the ball in behind into space. They couldn't maintain it at any point in the match. At times, the United States played better, relying a lot on the wings, considering that Australia's midfield was completely crowded. But what happened, Australia? With that defensive block, we expected would make things a bit more difficult for the United States in terms of play and depth. We didn't see that because they found the spaces, because they caught them out of position. We saw an Australia that was more focused on fighting, on fouls, on physical contact than on actually playing. Very little attacking idea. They weren't effective, obviously, in their original plan, which was to defend the goal. They weren't effective. In attack, I had very few chances, none clear on goal. But at times, when the United States attacked, they also didn't look very good defensively either. They get away with it because Australia really has a very weak squad, and it was seen this afternoon that first Popov's tactical setup never once used two forwards to try to turn the game around. He only made like for like substitutions, which showed little game strategy, and even when trying to attack through the air, it wasn't effective either. I'll say it again. Nothing worked out for Australia. And I don't want to be too harsh with my words because they were really trying to break that negative streak in their second matches, which we talked about beforehand. We never saw it. They broke the momentum from the first match, which they won. Very poor performance from Australia, who will have to play the third match under real pressure. Waiting to see what might happen in the match between Turkey and Paraguay today, who are the other two teams sharing the group. The United States won in the first half, as I said, where they showed more ambition, where they were hungrier, where they had McKean trying to get involved with Balogun, who scored. Well, the goal is credited to him, but it actually ends up being an own goal by the Australian centre backs. The Australia, Robinson was pushing forward. Freeman also joined the attack, and Diz was dribbling and assisting as well. But then in the second half, all of this faded away. That went unnoticed. Taprategamente. Then Robinson's performance dropped. Freeman's performance dropped, and Balogun barely touched the ball. We're talking about the fact that, without a doubt, the worst player in the match was the replacement for Palusic, who was injured and couldn't play. As a replacement, Pepe came in. Ricardo Pepe, who didn't touch the ball, didn't contribute to the game, didn't provide any assists, didn't offer anything going forward, He was really just another player on the field and not much more. If you ask me who the player of the match was, well, it's hard for me to say. But I'm going to go with Chris Richard, the center back, for his defensive solidity, for maintaining a certain level throughout the whole match. Why? Because I also liked McKean, but only in the first half. In the second half, not much at all. The substitutes, well, they played a little. Bogarun didn't touch the ball in the second half. Robinson, after he got booked, I didn't see anything remarkable from him either. So I'm going to reward consistency throughout the 90 minutes. And I'm going to go with Chris Richard. That's going to be my player of the day. Then I'll go back to talking about the United States. If you ask me if I see them as a contender, as a team to keep in mind, I still say no. Because so far, the two opponents they faced are much weaker. They couldn't capitalize on the first match either. This one was a bit better, but I'm not sure if they face a tougher, higher level opponent, who knows what could happen with the United States. That's my subjective opinion. Could I be wrong? I hope the United States still has a long run ahead of it. The truth is that they're in the lead. They've won both matches, and now we have to wait and see what happens. At midnight, there's the match between Turkey and Paraguay, but that's basically my perspective on this match.
Yeah, well, let's see. A match that was good. The United States, as we said for much of the match, won it with very little because they didn't do anything crazy either to win today's match. They did just enough to be practically qualified for the next round at this point. Are they actually already
By simple math.
Yes. And we're already saying goodbye. And in the end, the player of the match was Christopher Richards, a player from Crystal Palace, number 3 for the United States. And I also think he was the most sensible with the ball at his feet.